मैम यहाँ पे
वन मोर सेंटर वापस
पूजा मैम यहाँ पे
इधर वेट आपका सोलो
पूजा मैम एक सोलो
लेते ना सामने दीजिए सामने
बहुत फील किया
मेन सेंटर वापस
बस करना
So let's have a big applause for all of us here to be together to launch Unchain My Heart. Okay, so I would like to call on stage first the author Sharika Esther Sharma, who is Sharika, can you be here? Okay, all right, okay. All right, and right now we have with us another distinguished panelist. She's a politician who's member of parliament, Rajya Sabha. She's passionate about women empowerment, child rights, education and health. And she also runs her 2 NGOs in India. She's also the deputy leader of Shiv Sena. May we please welcome Mrs. Priyanka Chaturvedi on stage, please. And now this woman, I want to say that she has been the heartthrob of the nation. Am I right?
Of a generation that was.
Yes. She is a heartthrob. A woman who's always lived on her terms and she was always ahead of her times. Please welcome Miss Pooja Bhatt. And well, most of you over here would be knowing me. I am Kiran Srivastav. I'm an entrepreneur. I specialize into marketing. And I run an NGO called Fempowerment Foundation, which works on women empowerment for their economic independence. So that's me, and I'm going to host this evening with these amazing ladies out here, with you amazing women over here. Thank you. All right. Yeah.
That she'd seen Danny with another woman. Alia had found it funny at first, but she had eventually started believing the ugly story, or at least that's what Danny had thought. She had shouted at him and called him a cheat, even when he had tried telling her that the woman had been a co-worker, nothing more. Alia had refused to listen to him, and the reason for it was that she had already decided to end the relationship. Monica's story had merely presented her the excuse. Alia had broken off 3 years of love and friendship with the sensitivity of a butcher. News of the end of his relationship had reached Danny through rumor, speculation, and worse, through the tabloid media. She had never discussed the matter with him, and she had never looked back, until now. A best-selling author spoke after Danny, followed by an international athlete, and then Pops. His was the longest speech, characterized by controlled voice intonations, subtle and grand hand gestures, shifts of feet, and swells of tears. The legendary actor did justice to his reputation. The audience was enthralled. When the first half of the program ended, guests were directed to a rose garden with sandstone columns and gurgling fountains. The CEO of Indob was in the habit of playing his favorite songs from the 70s and 80s during the 30-minute break while his guests savored keva, spring water, and wine. Alia saw Danny leaning against a pillar, watching her. The music in the background revealed the unsaid. I heard it through the grapevine. Not much longer will you be mine. Oh, I'm just about to lose my mind. The emotions Danny had felt and wanted to express to Alia when they had separated were pouring out from the jukebox. I know a man ain't supposed to cry, but these tears I can't hold inside. There was nothing standing between them except some random people and pillars. It took me by surprise. I must say, when I found out yesterday, guilt crept over Alia. You could have told me yourself, honey, honey. The lyrics had spoken Danny's mind. There was nothing more to be said, unless Alia said it. Jackie Funwala tapped Alia on the shoulder. She looked at her with tenderness, like a friend or a mother, and nodded in Danny's direction. Alia was smart enough to understand what Jackie was trying to convey, but she couldn't get herself to do it. She couldn't admit to Danny that she wanted him back. She couldn't admit that she had done him wrong. A part of it was because she feared rejection. The larger part was the prospect of change. She was used to getting her way. Shifting her perspective could make the mental machinery that she had meticulously built malfunction. A gong sounded. The second half of the forum was to commence. People strolled back to their seats. Hey Al, Jayant said, sensing her disinterest in the remainder of the program. In 5 days we're off to Cannes. Ready as always, Alia responded automatically. When the forum ended, she left the venue without speaking to anyone. She was scheduled to return to Mumbai the following morning, but couldn't stand another hour in Delhi. Bruised on the inside, consumed by despair so deep it reminded her that she was alive, she took the red-eye flight back to her city of dreams. She needed to touch, grasp, and be held. I need someone, a man. Karan, yes, Karan, a man can remedy the pain caused by a man, she thought. Alia arrived at Karan's house past midnight, restless, craving to be held, intent on dousing her misery in carnal pleasure. Madam, your arrival is inopportune, the head servant said, alarmed at seeing her at the front door. What do you mean? Alia demanded. Sir is indisposed, he responded, fumbling to block her way into the house. Alia brushed past him, thinking, why is he so nervous? She got her answer in the bedroom, where the master of the house was hopping about with his jeans wound around his knees. She watched him pull them up to his waist, only to see the zipper get caught in the worst possible place, causing his smooth face to turn anguished. Alia felt as though she was watching a mime. The room looked like a scene from a crime novel. The curtains were ripped, the bed was crumpled, a glass had fallen to the ground. What's going on here? She demanded, embarking on a search of the room. She opened the cupboards and looked behind the curtain. She pulled the feather blanket off the bed and discovered a pair of twisted pink panties. On the Spanish tiles was a black bra with pink trimmings. Draped on the armchair was a nylon dress that reeked of cheap perfume. The crux of the matter had to be reached, or the plot to this crime novel would fall apart. No way am I going to lose the plot, Alia thought as she went into the bedroom. There she found what, or who, she was hoping she wouldn't, a dusky beauty crouching naked in the shower. Alia marched out of the room, her footsteps seemingly admonishing her, telling her what a fool she had been, the tapping of her heels counting the weeks, months, years she had wasted on this man. Alia, wait, Karan scrambled behind her, his fly unfastened. I can explain, you were just, what? Alia demanded angrily. She means nothing to me. That's worse. Please, Alia, you can't leave me. We're a rocking couple. It's over, Karan. No discussions, no explanations. We're through. This isn't happening. This is happening. It should have happened long ago.
Can I request everyone to just put their phones on silent? Thank you. Thanks, Sharika. So my question to all of you here, we can start with Pooja, is that have you ever felt chained in any situation in your life, especially emotionally? If yes, how did you overcome it? If you did overcome it?
Well, I think we've all felt like prisoners in our own lives, but I think wisdom is when you begin to realize, or you come to realize, that actually the bolt was on the inside of the cage, not on the outside. So it took me a long time to realize that it's me, myself, who's caged myself into rooms, into spaces, into cages. And as they say, slavery comes in very attractive packages. You know? So I found myself in a situation in my life where I was in a marriage that was crumbling. It was not crumbling because of anything as painful as this situation that you just read out. It was rather boring. Neither of us cheated. Neither of us were interested in cheating. But I think that as a woman, I realized that I'd lost myself in the process while ticking the box that society places right up there with all your achievements. No matter what you do and what you achieve, the question that is always asked is, so when are you getting married? And when you are married, how many children? When you're having a child? And if you end your marriage, when are you getting married again? So if you say I'm not interested in that narrative, and I'm happy to kind of, rewrite the end as, and she lived happily ever after, you get very suspicious looks from people. But I was in a situation, a marriage was crumbling, and it took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that I was indeed trapped in a marriage that was not working for me. I lost my femininity. I forgot who I was. A perfectly wonderful man. No bad blood in that sense. But there was a despair and a loneliness that was there in my soul. And I think a lot of women can identify with that. When you wake up and everything is okay on the outside, but there's this hole in your heart that a man or a work or nothing can fill. And I had two choices in front of me. That one was, okay, I was already 10 years married. Is that to continue that lie and then look at somebody and blame them for my unhappiness of my life, or do something about it and take the chance of walking on my own 2 feet, however shaky. So I did that. And then I used alcohol as a band-aid. So I was trapped and I was chained first into being a good wife, and then getting my gratification from a bottle, until I finally asked myself that what is the difference between a relationship, a man, or a bottle? You're using both to numb the pain. So do away with the crutches and learn to deal with yourself, and realize that you're not as special as you would like to believe that you are. Deal with the anguish, deal with the emptiness, deal with the ordinariness of your soul, and from that something magical will emerge, and something did. So I think the day I told myself that, okay, life is not a dress rehearsal. I'm not going to kind of end up being somebody who's going to use somebody else as a convenience and, a habit. I'm going to try life on my own. I might never meet that person. I might meet this person, and I met this person. And I kicked the bottle hard. It's been 7 years that I've been sober. I think it's my greatest achievement. I think my work is my hobby, and my real work is my sobriety. And yeah, so I was chained to that, but like I said, the bolt was on the inside. I locked myself into that room. All I had to do was unlock and walk out. Nobody kept me in there.
Wow, that was really honest. Thank you, Pooja.
And Pooja, real phoenix.
Add is that I think that more than most is that the stigma and shame attached to alcoholism and addiction for women, because we don't drink openly. Most people, so I drank openly. I drank openly and copiously, and like I live, So I said, why should I recover silently? Why should there should be anything anonymous about my recovery? So I use every opportunity to speak about the fact that, I was an alcoholic. I am one. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And that there's no shame. It's not a moral failing. And I think the more we kind of come out of the shadows, we end the stigma, and then there is great hope at the other end, because the bottle delivers, the men don't. Which is why we can drink most men under the table, you know. And the thing is that you have to acknowledge that, and only then can something come from it.
Too good,
And
Sharika.
I just see Pooja as a real inspiration, the real phoenix, because the way she is, when she took those tough, strong decisions, and you all know now all the work that she's doing, it's in front of you, incredible work that she's doing, as if you never had a break.
The universe gives you things when you're ready for them. I believe that.
Absolutely.
I was not ready for it at that point. So it is when the minute I kicked the habits, then the world said, okay, now you're ready, and now come on, here you go. Yeah, get to work. Now get to the real world.
Yeah.
Sharika, what about you? When did you feel that you've been changed in any situation, and how did you overcome it emotionally?
Actually, you know what? I was gonna say the same thing she said about the prison. I was gonna, instead of a cage, I was gonna say it's like a prison. That, my thing was more like codependency was a problem with me, people pleasing, because my parents had been so busy when I was small. Wasn't given much time. All that, my grandmother was raising me. She was very religious, extremely religious. I was sharing a room with her, so puja part was going on morning to night. And the whole idea of marriage and children and all that. And I did all that. But I, exactly like what Pooja is saying, completely lost myself. In fact, I was writing this book, and this book took me 8 years to write, because I was grabbing 1 hour here, 2 hours there, children, this, that, and completely lost myself. I mean, I didn't even know who I was by the
I have
end of
seen
it.
that.
I mean,
I've
I've
seen
gone
that.
through a divorce myself by the end of it. So now it's like a journey. That's why I dedicated this book to all women who are on the journey of self-discovery, because that's the journey I'm on.
Great, Priyanka.
Well, I think Pooja and Sharika both have shared their experiences, and I must say, Pooja, it's very inspirational when you come openly and you talk about an issue you're facing. For example, when you said you understand the do's and don'ts because we live by those social barriers that have been created for, especially for women in politics. Do not drink, do not laugh loudly, do not speak too much, do not speak to your male colleagues, do not laugh loudly with your male colleagues, do not be seen with them after parliamentary hours. I've smashed all of those. Simply because I can't live a life of hypocrisy. It's just not in me. With regards to feeling chained, there have been moments, and there have been plenty of moments where I feel, would I feel better if I get out of this? In some situations, I kind of understood, no, this is where it is. I could be unhappy, I could work things around me. But in terms of feeling chained, was that one moment when I, one fine day, decided I wanted to quit the Congress party. The entire country, I'm not exaggerating here, everyone had an opinion of me. Selfish, self-centered, wanting to do much better, feeling chained because of the party. But it was a question about who I was, and a question that how, as a parent, I'm teaching some values to my children. Would I want my son to behave badly with women and say it's absolutely all right because my mother's tolerated it, everyone should tolerate it in politics? Or should I tell my daughter that even if someone misbehaves with you, you have to just grin and bear it because that's how the world is? And I took that decision that yes, maybe whatever comes my way, I'll live through that. But I was feeling very chained with that decision, that should I continue being silent in my party because party is doing, party is giving me good opportunities, party has been good to me. Should I break that down, or should I live by my own principles, which is you can't take situations, where you're being undermined, where you're being mistreated, you're being abused in a way. Should I take that lying down? So I chose the latter. I broke out of that chain, and I decided that I wanted to live my life my way, do my politics my way, do it the way I think is the right way of walking ahead in politics. I come from a non-political background, so yes, it was a tough journey, but I think I have not chained myself to any expectations that the world may have of me, but what expectations I have of the world and my duties towards the world.
Wow, that's inspiring. That's really
And
inspiring.
I wanted to add that not only being an example to your own children, but you're being an example to many other children and young adults, many others. It's
And it
always
is,
by example people learn.
and it is emotionally also very like charged up to take such a big decision. So I can. So Pooja, you have lived life on your terms always. In fact, you've been ahead of your times even before, as we all know that. in retrospect, do you feel that if you would have done things a bit differently and not followed your heart 100%, would it be a little better?
No, before she speaks, I want to say one thing.
Sure.
I am so glad that she did what she did, because when we were growing up, we used to look at her as like that icon who just doesn't give a damn about the world, and she's doing her things her way. And I think in some way, you inspired women like us to do what we want to do in our own way, right? Walk our own path in the way we want it, not what the world demands you to do. So I think, glad you did it, Pooja.
But I know you will be honest, very honest. That do you really feel that following your heart 100%?
Well, I mean, frankly, I don't know any other way of being. So I can't, like people say, when people tell me, oh, that was such a courageous thing to do, you spoke about this. So I said, I can't take credit for that. It is my nature. I can't, when I speak up for a woman, I speak up for myself. When I speak up for a cause, I speak up for myself. I'm no saint here. But I think that, it's something that I've inherited from my father, and it's something that, thank God, my sister Alia has not, because that's the reason she's so successful. Because she knows exactly what to share and what not to share, what to put out there and what to not put out there. But I think that I've learned that it's only when you're authentic and you are speaking from your heart does it get communicated. Now, when I look back at my life, I'm 51 now. I'm enjoying what they call the 4th season of fame. In our business, they say that, there are 4 seasons of any artist. First, they say, oh, she has potential, or he has potential. Then they say, oh, she's arrived. Then they say, she's over. And then they say, she's back. So I'd given up acting for 21 years, and I came back with a show called Bombay Begums again, where Alankrita Srivastav and Bornila Chatterjee wanted to cast me because of the life I'd led. They were like, you've been away from the front of the camera for the last 21 years, and it's what you stand for and what resonates in your heart that's what we want to cast. So I think there's no alternate for a lived life, especially for an artist. An artist cannot be a prisoner, not to themselves, not to a reputation. I think that with enough courage you can do without a reputation. And we have that liberty as artists, and we should take that more. So I just feel that the world has been quite fair. The media has been quite fair. The ones who somewhere in their hearts do understand, but their agenda is not to, you can't change their mind no matter what you do. But I think what's always moved me is when I've traveled through India and I've met women from diverse backgrounds who might not have remembered the films I've done, but they've remembered an interview of mine, or what I've said, or when I've spoken up for something that the rest of my industry or my brethren did not at that point, because I guess they had more to lose than I did. I think that resonates and it reaches people, because eventually what you are gets communicated, not what you say you are. And I think that it's too tiring to play this game of, trying to pretend to be somebody that I'm not, and then, try to get you to like me for what I'm not, and then I go home, and that burden, I can't be bothered. So I'm a great actor when the camera rolls, but I'm no good when it's off.
So
and I had the greatest feminist who I grew up with. Besides my mother, I grew up with the greatest feminist of them all, called Mahesh Bhatt. I mean, he's the greatest feminist of them all. So he and who wanted to crash land our party, by the way. So I told him, you can't. But I think that for me, it's very humbling to be here. And I think that the fact that you listen, and the fact that something resonated and you noticed then. And I love her because she's a completely inappropriate woman. That's why I'm here. But I think that should I have done things better, probably toed the line, walked the line, it might have gotten me a hit film here or maybe 2 more jobs there, but it would not have done anything for my soul. It would not have added to my growth. So I think my belittling failures, my times of isolation, the times that the world has turned its back on me supposedly, that is where I found my wealth. That is where I found my core. And I would not trade that for anything in the world.
Wow, so raw and real?
Yeah, I mean, I've realized that growth and comfort do not go together. So, I'm good with discomfort. I do not